You are talking to the dead, and I will explain. Maybe I'll start out here. I remember talking to my master teacher, Pastor Reverend Bryson, and I would tell him, "You have to show me how to be this that God is saying I am." And what was God saying I am? God was saying, "You are me and I am you. We are one." And I told my master teacher, "I don't know how to be this thing." And he said, "Now that I can't teach you." And he said, "The Spirit will develop that within you. That is something that I cannot teach you." And I said, "You can teach me, you can teach me." He said, "I can't teach you that." And so when he made his transition, I came across another teacher of mine named Sayla Bay, and she gave me some principles that really helped me understand the message that God was giving me. And even at that point, I thought, this is it. I got it. My uncle told me he couldn't teach it to me, but he could have. Because at that point, I thought I had just been taught. And although what I got was significant, because without that, I wouldn't have been able to get to the final result. And that beautiful sister taught me the law of cause and effect. And she taught me the beautiful principle that we are all connected, which is the Kabbalah teachings. And so I walked away from that with the greatest understanding of how to go inside and do some beautiful internal work. And the entire time that I was doing that beautiful internal work, I was actually evolving. And it's the same as anyone who does the internal work. This thing is not granted to me by grace or granted to me by favor or any of those things. It is granted to me by choice, which is something we all have. And it's so beautiful because as I'm doing the work, that internal growth or that internal knowing which causes you to grow, I discovered so much about myself, all of the programs that had been installed during my life journey here. I call negative emotions programs. I also call positive emotions programs, but I like the positive ones, so I don't tend to arrange them differently. But the negative emotions, I call them programs, and those programs that were running inside of me were programs that I got from my mom, my father, friends, family, and they resided inside of me, took root, and I became those things. Those things were listed. If I had to put the negative emotion to it, they would look like abandonment, worthlessness, fear. That's what those programs looked like. And because I had those programs running inside, that is who I became. And because I became that, that is the experience I produced. And it was very interesting when you're going through your life and you're doing your reprogramming or identifying your programs, you get an opportunity to see how much work needs to be done inside yourself, inside myself, that would cause for a different experience in this life. And what was so amazing to me was that I wrote that book, Wounded by Christianity, Healed by God, and it's a beautiful book, but the healing is still taking place. I guess this is going to be an everlasting healing since God is infinite, and so I will feel the healing constantly. But the healing power is the fact that I can now recognize what was taught to me versus what is real. And it's so beautiful to come out of this space that taught me, well, you got favor, or God granted you favor, or God, you must be special to God, or something to that effect. Because when you have those teachings, or when people say God's grace is upon you, or you have God's favor, or you're special to God, that strokes your ego and makes you believe that you are somehow this really great person, especially if someone around you is not experiencing that same grace or that same power or that same favor, as they call it. And you can sit and say, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's not how it is. And if that's what you believe your reality to be, then I'm not here to change that. I'm just sharing mine. And, growing up, that makes or for me, it strokes your ego and it makes you believe that you're special and it makes you believe that you're holy and it makes you believe that you're good and all is well in your life. The problem with that is that's not real, that's not true, because there's no favor, there's no special, there's no anything that is greater than the next. We all are equal in this walk. There is no walk where one has greater power than the other. The only thing that we have is choice, better choices. That's the only thing that separates us, is our choices. And it's so beautiful because when you get to the understanding, or to the place where you understand that your choices are your power, or your creative powers, or a very large part of your creative power, then things change for you. It changed for me. And so I started this thing saying the death of, or you're talking to a dead person. And that is because I'm just like Paul. I die daily. And I am dying to a specific way of thinking this year. And in the new year, it will not be traveling to me. When I asked my uncle, can you teach me how to become that which God is telling me I am, which is the oneness with God, no separation, living in the place that I and God are one, and being in that divine position And he said, I cannot teach you. And I thought I had been taught. I have learned that he was absolutely right. This was not anything anyone could have taught me. This is only something that grows inside. It's an internal growth that allows you to have that feeling, that allows you to have that connection. And so the best way that I can formulate this experience into words is to say that in order to experience this oneness with God, I had to remove the programs that kept me away from believing that that is true. So to be one with God means that I really do live out the biblical principles or any other holy principle. I really will have whatever it is I say. I really will be what I'm called to be in this earth. I really will live in that space. Because the entire time that I have been alive, I have lived in that space, but I have been producing negative experiences due to my negative programming. So when Spirit spoke and said we are one, it was the most beautiful thing because it was true. And even in the negative aspect of my living, that was true. However, I am removing those programs that have been running my boat or creating these experiences for me in this lifetime. I'm removing those negative or programs and replacing those negative programs with positive programs. And in those positive programming or positive emotions, then I will now receive positive experiences. And it is such a delightful, divine walk to become the positive aspect of God. We have a choice. I lay before you this day life and death. I hope that you choose life. There are no forces that make us decide anything. We are the controlling factor in this picture, which further explains that God and I are one. We are the controlling factor by our choice. I can choose to stay in the negative posture, repeat negative behavior, and continue to obtain the result of that choice. Or I can participate in positive feelings, positive emotions, and live in the benefit of that. There's an old ancient saying that says, our past, present, and future are the same. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously at the same time. And it's very interesting because it really does. If I keep performing in a negative way, which is the same way I performed in the past, and if I'm performing there in the present, my future looks just like my past. It's all existing at the same time. If I want something different, I have to, in my present, I have to live something different to remove myself from my past. I cannot get out of my past unless I change what I'm doing in my present. And it is the most beautiful death experience when you kill the program. And in essence, you are killing an aspect of yourself that has decided to live in the negative space. Because when you're doing something, or when I was doing something over and over and over and over again by way of my programming, I was being that thing. I was being negative. I was a walking ball of worthlessness, a walking ball of abandonment. Everything in my life, every person in my life who was drawn to me and I to them, who shared an experience with me and I to them and them to me, was a direct reflection of the pain or negative emotions that I had decided to live in. And because I have decided not to live in that space any longer, then my forward motion must be positive. And it is not based on favor. It is not based on God's love for me, but rather my love for a specific frequency, my love for a specific vibration, my love for a specific emotion or feeling or program or aspect of God. It is based on me. And there is so much freedom in that space, because now I can create something different. I can sit in my room and I can say to myself, I love you. Me talking to me. I love you so very much. And you are so important to me. I will take care of you just like you have taken care of me. I will treat you like the beautiful temple that you are. I will talk to you every day. You are the most loved being. I love you more than anything in this world. You are special to me. And everything you want and everything you need, I will make sure you have it. Just like you will make sure I have it. I love you. And that energy that I share with myself, which has not been done all of my life. All of my life, I was looking for something outside to say those words to me, which had to be the case because one of my programs was abandonment, And if your program is abandonment, it's going to keep bringing you the feeling of abandonment. So everyone who comes into your life or my life had to bring me the feeling of abandonment because it is what I was calling for. It is what I was. But when I take the new posture of being loved, then abandonment cannot exist. They cannot occupy the same space. My master teacher used to tell me all the time, when you go into a dark room and you turn on the light, is it dark? It is light, because darkness and lightness cannot occupy the same space. And so it is the same with the emotions. If I give myself love and I stay there for myself and I show up for myself, then abandonment cannot be. When I don't show up for myself, then I have abandoned myself, which is the program. It is a beautiful thing to be awake. It is a beautiful thing not to be looking for God's love, but to be experiencing God's love. It is a beautiful thing not to be waiting for favor, but to be living in the favor that is already granted to all of us. Not just one person, all of us. There is no greater piece of this whole. They're all the same. And there is beauty in knowing that. My freedom came from knowing that. So, I just wanted to make this video today. I really wanted to make it earlier today, but it wouldn't go away, so I had to make it right now. Maybe this video is for me. Maybe this video is for somebody else. Maybe it's for both of us. Maybe it's for a lot of us. But the one thing that I wanted to take home from this conversation with myself, and you, of course, is that there is no special light that shines on anybody. It just does not exist. There is no special favor that was granted on anybody. It just is not. That is an illusion, and it is a horrible illusion, because that illusion strokes your ego and it keeps you either holding other people down or in bondage, or yourself down and in bondage when you do not receive the benefits of what you are looking for, because somehow you are trying to figure out where did you let God down or why you weren't the favorite anymore. It's not that way. There is no such thing as that. We are all the same. And the only thing that we experience are the results of our choices. That's it. Whatever is great and you want that's standing in front of you, find out what programs are in your way, remove them, and go get what you want. It is not specific to your grace, your power, or what God you serve or what God you don't serve. It's all your actions. It's all your actions. God is complete and whole in all things, even us. You want something different, you do something different. You want something different, you be something different. You want something different, you choose something different. It's just a choice. So every day, for the rest of my life, I will wake up telling myself how much I love me, and I will tell myself how great we will be and how great we will live. And I hope that you will do the same. Ashe.